Welcome to Founders Future, a podcast powered by Closers.io, where we dive into the journeys of innovative entrepreneurs and explore the road ahead of them and their companies. I'm your host, Olivia Salmons, and in each episode, we'll uncover the stories behind impactful ventures, the challenges faced along the way, and the strategies driving their future growth. Today, I'm excited to be joined by Leilah Mirza, coach, healer, and founder of Leilah Mirza Coaching and Healing, where she supports individuals in reconnecting with themselves, releasing emotional blocks, and creating deeper alignment in life and business. Leilah's work blends coaching, healing, and self-awareness, helping people slow down, tune in, and move forward from a place of clarity rather than pressure and survival mode. Leilah, welcome to Founders Future. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you so much for having me. I loved that little intro.
Beautiful, thank you so much. It's a pleasure to have you here, and I'm excited to dive in and learn more about your journey. So, with all of my guests, I do actually like to start at the beginning. So if you don't mind taking me back to what it was you were doing before you jumped into the coaching world, and then from there, what was the motivation behind it?
Okay, so that's a question I do get asked quite a lot. So I was working in the finance industry, the finance sector. So I worked for big banks like HSBC Bank and Santander, and I always had a desire whilst working in bank that I want to be connected with people because I knew I had a hidden gift that no one knew of, but I didn't know how to incorporate my gift in helping people.
Okay.
So I started working in finance and I really enjoyed it. I loved working there. I loved the people that I worked with. I loved my boss. My boss is a very big catalyst in my journey because he carved confidence inside of me that was indescribable almost. And then I had fallen pregnant with my son in 2011, and I knew I couldn't go back in that job and have dependent on a salary and be dependent on a holiday, and then with my son in childcare, and childcare in the UK is extremely expensive at that time. And I just thought, you know what, I've got to trust myself in this process. And trust was a very massive, I was going to say major, massive key component in my journey and still is.
I love that. So putting those powers to good use, and I suppose moving from what is a very heavy corporate job, being in the finance world, to then obviously becoming a entrepreneur, solopreneur, whatever you want to call it. Was there any kind of major differences that you noticed when you took that switch from being in a corporate
Yeah.
world to obviously working for yourself?
Yes, 100%. Because there's two elements. There is the corporate world and people who is very successful in the corporate world. Then I was bridging in between the corporate world to the holistic world, which includes spirituality, holistic coaching, healing, all of that. And that was a very different world too, because
Yeah.
entrepreneurial people access finance and money like that. They can tap into success so fast. But spiritual people take a lot longer to tap into abundance and a wealth mindset. So there was a
Interesting.
very big bridge because the thing is, entrepreneurs and people in the corporate world and people who work for themselves without spirituality, they believe that they're one with God, that they're co-creating and they can achieve anything. When you look at spiritual people, think there's God, I'm here,
Mm.
and I'm below God and I'm below the universe, so I have to honor that and work
Yeah.
harder. So there's a lot of beliefs there that I explored, but there was such a big contrast going from a environment that was fast, and I was working in London, I was working in Portobello
Yeah.
Street, I was working in Woking, I was working in a very fast-paced industry, and whenever I would like get my paycheck and I'd make a lot of money and start that quarter in sales, I'd book holidays and I'd go back, and then all of that changed, right? Then the truth hit me as being an entrepreneur, the reality. There was challenges that I had to work through, and a lot of those challenges took me back in my own psychological beliefs.
I love that. So yeah, a big mindset shift and a lot of inner work moving from one field to the other as well. And I'm assuming that really helped you now and with your clients as well today. So let's dive into that a little bit more. So walk me through when it comes to obviously the coaching and the healing, who would you say is your ideal customer? Who do you love to work with the most? And then from
I
there, how
love,
is it you help them and how do you support them on that journey?
yeah, that's a great question. So a lot of the clients that I work with are majority are women, and these are women who are pretending or they're showing on the outside that they're thriving, but on the inside they are stuck, right? I work with a lot of women who are in their lives trying to find their true identity, and they don't feel fulfilled and they're out of alignment because either of the hustle, either they're disconnected from who they are. And a lot of women that I work with are stuck and they are disconnected from source
Yeah.
and from who they are. So I work with women intrinsically, almost very deep inside. I work through the psychological layers, emotional layers. Also, I'm very intuitive, so I'm highly intuitive. So I can see when something's not in aligned, and I can tell you why you are not in aligned and where the block started from. And then I can use my counseling and psychology background to tell you perhaps you're trying to succeed or open a successful business, but you feel stuck in life and you feel disconnected because you're not
Mm,
leading from your truth. You're leading from the validation of your parents. Perhaps you
yeah.
still felt like you never were able to please them as a child. Perhaps you never felt enough. And that bleeds through in different layers and layers. And sometimes it's not obvious. It's only obvious when your life that you're currently living right now, this template where you are, is a reflection of choices of your past. So when people come to me and I ask them what are their results, where are they in their life, all of that, that whole summary is a template of their past, of their decisions that they've made in the past. Because your life shouldn't be lived from the past paradigm, it should be
Yeah.
lived from the future paradigm. So I take people into that. I take people into their higher self. So I help women embody the truth and feeling connected to who they are and living life in alignment. And alignment is freedom. It's empowerment.
Yeah.
Alignment is growth. It feels good. And that's a journey I take people onto, feeling good, feeling that the world is literally your oyster and that you can achieve anything because we can. So it's very mindset, but there is a lot of psychological work that happens
Yeah.
with that mindset.
Yeah, I love that. And breaking, as you say, breaking old chains and old habits, even as you described yourself walking, working in London, thriving, and just being stuck in that constant cycle of when I finish work, I'm going to go and go shopping, I'm going to go on holiday, I'm
Yeah,
going to do it. And it
yeah.
is just stuck in that loop that someone has given you like a recording of that. Yeah, that's the life that we're going to do and move from there. So it's a lot of inner work that you do with people. And what would you say is that as first initial spark or challenge that people come to you with, they're really looking to overcome?
It's a lot to do with disconnection because a lot of people don't really know who they are. They know
Mm,
what the world told them to be. They know what their parents told them to be.
yeah,
And a lot of their responses, now when I'm speaking about responses, I'm speaking about the autopilot responses, like waking
yeah,
up in the morning, going to work, going to gym, making food. A lot of them, that is driven by belief systems. It's not true alignment. And they're not coming because they're coming because they're feeling the disconnection. They're
yeah,
coming because they know they're not living their truest life. And actually, it's fearful for people to look into that. People
yeah.
feel fear because if I was to say to you right now, Olivia, let's unravel all the old paradigms. Tell me who you want to become and who you are. Your mind has probably not even thought that big. Maybe you thought of a small holiday. Maybe you thought of going to the Maldives, to Bali, to Bora Bora. Maybe you thought of buying a nice car. But ultimately, what is it you want to become? What is it you want to achieve in your life? They haven't seen that. I can see that. I can see that for them. And my thing is taking them there without the fear, with alignment that feels good.
Yeah, I love that. So really, as you say, driving towards your purpose and aligning yourself, your body, your mind, your spirit, everything in that one direction. And as you asked me that question, my heart was racing because it is scary looking within yourself that far, and it's an
Mm.
unknown thing. So of course it's going to tap onto nerves and anxiety moving forward. So like obviously with that being said then Layla, what is it like to work with you? So is this on a one-to-one level? I'm assuming quite deep and quite personal. But like, what would it be like if I was to onboard with you now as a client?
If you were to onboard with me, you have to be ready to go through the darkest places of who you are,
Okay.
because through the dark, you'll see your light. And there's a saying by Rumi, and Rumi says, it's through the wound that the light shines. So you need to be prepared for great challenges, but the greater the obstacle, the greater the growth, right? So
Mm,
once we can overcome and walk through the shadows, walk through the dark way, that's where transformation is. Transformation isn't a pleasant experience,
yeah.
but I guide you, I facilitate you. So if you come and work with me right now, I'm going to ask, where do you feel disconnected in your life? And show me, maybe we'll bring up a pie chart where you are disconnected, where you feel out of alignment. Are you happy with your bank account? Are you happy in your love life? Are you happy in your employment? Whatever that is, right? And you give me the explanation, definition of what you look like, your ideal avatar of who Olivia is, what your values are,
Yeah.
and what you stand for. And my job is to put luminous light on there and to check if that is in alignment or there's something bigger. And then it's the challenge of what will happen once we collapse time and you become that. Because often people are taken back by the fear and the pain of
Yeah.
what could happen. It's not the light. It's not your dark that you're afraid of. It's the light that you're afraid of.
Mm. Yeah, it's scared of everything that you ever want to obviously be in alignment and come true. But obviously, it's a lot of deep inner work, as you mentioned before, a lot of facing your fears, going within yourself and finding that. So, with that being
Mm.
said, I'm curious to see then how you go about acquiring your customers. So, like, what channels, what methods are you really finding most effective in finding that right person to work with, or vice versa?
So, when someone comes into my world, is filled with a toolbox. And I actually have a framework that I brought out called the Leilah Mirza integration method. It's my own framework that I work with my clients to give them this transformative journey. And that's something that I teach people as well. So when people come and work with me, we're doing, and this is even women in leadership, women in coaching, healers, visionaries, women on all sorts of backgrounds will go
Mm,
through a process, which is the framework, right? We will go through the challenges, the inner child work, the shadow work, and then we challenge your paradigm by belief work, right? Because maybe a client wants to accelerate from a 3K to 7K consistent months, or to thrive in abundance, but there's a ceiling that she's stuck at. Maybe she doesn't feel
yeah.
worthy. And that's where we do the belief work, the conscious work. There could be some hypnosis in between, some coaching, but it's all designed to help the person to grow. So, getting back to your question, Olivia, my work compromises from a toolbox with various modalities that I tap into. Some of them is
Nice.
theatre healing, some of them is NLP, some of them is meditative work, some of them is inner child work and shadow work, but they all have a profound impact on each client.
Yeah, and I suppose every client as well, because it's such a tailored approach and such a unique journey specific to every single person,
Mm-hmm.
might be tapping into different areas of that toolbox, as you say. Some may be needing other situations, some NLP may come through. So it's nice that you have all of that to kind in. And then I do want to get into the nuts and bolts a little bit of the business. So like when it comes to the team around you, sales and marketing, what is working well for you at the moment? What channels and methods are you really finding most effective in getting your brand and your name out there to other people?
I am potentially all over online. You can just type my name into Leilah Mirza. I'm on LinkedIn, I am on YouTube, I'm on TikTok. I'm on all platforms. I do have a team behind me who works with me as well, who looks after my clients, who sends over my emails, does a lot of my newsletters. So I do have people involved in my business. My husband, a lot of credit to him because he does do my videos. I'm very fortunate to have my husband who helps me in my business too. yeah, I also run retreats, which is
Nice.
phenomenal.
Yeah, and it's nice that you do have that help and support from your husband as well at home, but just from like team members as well. Because being a solopreneur and entrepreneur on your own, you have to fight many fires, juggle many battles while you're still looking after your own well-being. And obviously,
Yeah,
without your well-being and the business well-being, it's muddling that all together. And then when it does come to marketing and stuff, I know you're very heavy on social media outlook. Do you run any form of paid ads to push the traffic up there, or is it pretty much organic outreach from yourself?
it's a lot of organic.
A lot of organic. Okay, cool, nice. And how do you work with the consistency through that? Is it a nice flow coming in of traffic and people to
Yes,
work with?
yes,
Awesome. And then
yeah.
when it comes to obviously the plans for the future, so what do the next 6 to 12 months have in store for you, Layla? Have you got any new
Um,
projects you're working on or new courses you're looking to roll out?
I have my coaching framework that I'm employing people to run. So I'm
Yeah,
employing people. I'm running my coaching framework, which is Leilah Mirza integration method. So it's a method that I developed over how I work with people and how I manage to transform people's lives actively. I also run 2 retreats a year, one in Spain,
nice.
Mia's, which is upcoming. So have you ever been to Costa del Sol?
I have, yeah, I have.
Yeah, yeah.
I have.
So, was it for a party?
It wasn't. I used to live there. I
Oh,
grew
you
up there, so
did?
until I was 14, yeah. So I know the coast, and
Wow.
I go back and forth a lot. My family still lives there,
Oh,
which
that's
is really ironic.
amazing.
Yeah.
That is
Yeah.
ironic, yeah. So, actually, so we are in Mia's. So, our retreat runs
Nice.
in May in Mia's.
I love that. So how, and must be like to put onto a year a lot of preparation for yourself and obviously making sure that people come. Do you have a maximum amount of women or clients that you allow on the retreats to keep it a certain number?
On the retreat, we have around about 9 to 12 women who come. So, it has to be manageable because I'm doing a lot of
Yeah.
work. So, I don't get to switch off, I don't get to relax. I'm doing a lot of the work. But yeah, so it's around about 9 to 12
Nice.
women. They always do retreats running a year, and they're luxury retreats. They're healing retreats, but they're luxury based.
I love that. And have you got like, when you do think of your specific plans for the future or goals that you're working towards, do you have that in mind and a plan when you think about what the future could have for yourself and the coaching business?
My plan for my future self and for my future business is to teach people my method
Mm.
of coaching and healing, which is through the framework that I teach.
Amazing. So the idea is to grow the team and have other coaches on board or even just allowing other people to use your method and framework
Absolutely. Yeah.
forward, less reliance on yourself, which is really cool. And Layla, I have one final question to ask you before we log out. So, if you could go back in time to a younger self and you could only leave yourself with one piece of advice moving forward, something you know now, but that you didn't know then, what would you say to yourself?
That is probably the best question I've had on many podcasts. I haven't had that. So something I could say to myself, my younger self, that I didn't know now
Yeah,
that I know now. I think one profound thing was that your dreams will always come true if you believe.
I love that.
Because I think as children, you're taught about fantasy and hey, have nice big dreams like Winnie the Pooh and Disney. Then all of a sudden, the world teaches you conformity and it crushes your dreams. And I think if I set myself bigger dreams from a very early on, I would have been able to achieve them a lot faster. Now, so
Mm,
don't stop dreaming and dream as big as you can and dream like nobody's watching.
I love that. And what a great way to end the podcast. Layla, thank you so much. How
Thank
amazing.
you.
And thank you so much for joining me today and for sharing your incredible journey and insight with us. Where can our listeners reach out best to work with you or connect with you if they would like to do?
They can find me on my website, which is www.leilahmirzacoachingandhealing.com. They can also find me on Instagram with the same credentials, Leilah Mirza Coaching and Healing. On LinkedIn, I suppose, the same. Just have
Beautiful.
to type in my name, Leilah Mirza, on Google, and AI will even recognize it.
Yeah, all over the place. Nice and easy. And thank you again for joining us. And to our listeners, if you enjoyed this episode, please be sure to go and check out Layla. And do not forget to subscribe to Founders Future by wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts. And if you are a business owner, specifically a coach, consultant, or agency owner, and you're really looking to scale your business and you want to enhance your sales and marketing efforts, visit closers.io to hop on a call with one of our team and discover how we went from $0 to $30 million per year in less than 3 years. But until then, keep on climbing, and we will see you on the next one.